This is our Mother's Day creme brulee video. So today we're making creme brulee, 5 simple ingredients. We have vanilla. You could use vanilla bean or just vanilla extract, whichever you have. We're using vanilla extract today. A little bit of salt, 1/8 of a teaspoon of salt, egg yolks, which we have here, and sugar and heavy cream as well. So yeah, and the heavy cream's over here on the stove. So that's pretty simple stuff. Basically it's a custard. At the end of it you'll put a little sugar on top and brulee it, burn the sugar, make a nice hard crust. So you have the hard crust and the soft custard underneath. So great. I'm actually making a double batch. This would actually make, the recipe I'll share with you will make either 4 6-ounce ramekins or 6 4-ounce ramekins, and these are the ramekins we have. These are 4-ounce, so you can get larger ones. If you don't have any of these, you could bake it in a small square brownie dish or something like that. It would just be a really large custard. So you could try to make it work if you really wanted to do it and you didn't have these little ramekins. All right, getting started. So you have to heat up your cream. I'm going to bring that over here for a second, and you're supposed to add your salt to the cream and your vanilla extract. Okay, so I'm going to add that to it and set it back over here so it stays warm. So I've heated that up. And we're just going to allow that to stay warm over there until we're ready for it. All right. Meanwhile, I've cracked. Normally you do 5 egg yolks. I have 10 in here because I'm doing double recipe, and it also calls for a 1/2 cup of sugar, granulated sugar. So I have a full cup because I'm making a double batch. So you're going to add your sugar to your yolks. You could use any type of a bowl. My plan, I'm going to use this bowl because it has a spout, and I'm hopefully going to be able to pour it successfully right into the ramekins. If you don't, you can just use a regular bowl, and then you just use like a ladle and ladle it into the ramekins. All right, so we're going to whisk this, and you want to whisk it until it gets real nice and light. So see here, it's really a dark, rich yellow. All right, you want to kind of whisk that really well, get that air in there, and combine those yolks and that sugar. The sugar will kind of dissolve a little bit, not completely, but a little bit in there. We want to get a nice lighter yellow color before we move on to the next step. Okay, cool. So we have got that nice light ribbony look to our sugar and egg yolk mixture. So we're good to go to add our cream. So what I'm going to do is put a little bit of a strainer here in case there's some of that skin from the scalded milk or the scalded cream. Basically scalding it, so we want to bring it not quite to a boil. Just as it starts to bubble a little bit, then you're good. We're going to add a little bit of this cream to the egg mixture at a time. Okay, and just a little bit, and we will mix that in there. The idea here is we want to gently add a little bit of that cream because we don't want to cook the egg. The idea is to bring that temperature of the egg mixture up gradually. Okay, and then you can just continue to add a little more at a time, continuing to add it until it's good and hot. You've got that hot mixture. Okay, So we've tempered it, so we brought that temperature up gradually, so we don't have a bunch of egg chunks, scrambled eggs in there. That's what you do not want. You want a nice smooth mixture. Okay, so we have the mixture that's going to make our custard right here, and it's all nice and combined well, so very simple process. All right, so after this, we're going to come back and actually pour them into the ramekins. We'll show you that next. So we have our mixture, we have our ramekins. This is a 2-inch hotel pan. Obviously, you may not have something like that at home. This would make the batch I'm going to send you, like I said, will make 6 of these types of ramekins. So you could use something smaller, like a brownie dish, something like that, whatever you have at home. The idea is something that comes up at least 3/4 of the way up of the ramekins, so you can add some water. We're going to add some hot water here before we add it to the oven. And what that does, it just gives it a nice gradual soft heat, softer than a dry heat of the oven. So we're going to finish this up, and then we're pretty much done after that. All we're going to do is bake it off and then cool them down. You're going to want to let them cool really well before you actually go ahead and brulee them. All right. So it did end up coming up just about right. We'll just top some of these off that maybe aren't quite as high as the others. Might as well use it all. Cool. All right, good. So now I have a little teapot. That way you can control. You don't want to try not to splash the water in. You don't want to get the water in the actual custard, or else that would mess up the ratio, and that particular ramekin probably would not come out very well. So the idea is to come up about halfway to 3/4 of the way up the ramekins. And so you want to be very careful, obviously, at this point, because you have hot water, scalding hot water in the pan, and you have your oven here. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to set this in the oven, very nice and gently. So you want to make sure that your oven is on and set at 325. Okay. About 30 to 40 minutes, check them. They should be pretty well set, just slightly jiggly in the middle, and then you're done. So we'll come back here and see what they look like when they... Okay, so all of the creme brulees, well, pre-brulee are out. The custards are done, and they're nice and set. You cook it till it's just barely set in the middle. It's still a little jiggly, but pretty well set. And you can take it out, let it cool, and then you can refrigerate it for up to a couple days. You want to make sure that it's nice and dry on the top. If there's any condensation, just kind of tap it dry with like a towel or something, like a paper towel. I just have some sugar here, and so we're going to take probably about a teaspoon or so, and evenly as possible add a layer of sugar to our custard. All right, so we have a nice light layer of sugar, granulated sugar over top, and we want to kind of try to go as gentle as possible with the flame, and gradually melt that layer of sugar, sort of turning it, and it'll gradually start to bubble and turn brulee. But you want to try to do it as evenly as possible so that it all melts and kind of slightly burns brulees together in one. So if you notice the spot's getting really dark, kind of move from that spot and go to another one. and just keep it moving. Notice the flame's not stopped at any one point. And we're starting to really get that nice caramelized crust. If it starts to smoke, just move away from that area. Pull the flame away. Cool. So that's pretty much it. We're just going to let this cool off actually a little bit. We'll let that cool, and now we have a nice little crust on here. You could garnish it with like a strawberry or some fresh berries or something like that. But now that once it cools down a little bit, we'll be able to crack it open and try it. So check back and we'll try that here in a minute. So now we're going to see if we get the nice little crunch. You get that nice little bit of crunch with the creaminess of the creme brulee.